but this episode's about being sober curious. Could you have like a guess as to what that means?
In the world that we live in now, everything has to have a fucking label. Like, we have to label every thought, every action, every emotion. Sober curious is so stupid to me, but it enlightened me. Why are you getting a headache?
I think it's you, to be honest. You're like, your vibes are throwing off my vibes. Like, you're stressed.
It's because I have so much. I've done so much in just a limited amount of time today, and I have more to do.
So you're stressed.
I'm just a little flustered.
It's okay.
It's a little flustered.
It's okay. Your headache is starting to wear off on me, though, so maybe I could take some of your pain away.
Yeah, thank God. It's also, we had to turn the heat on in here. It's hot as shit.
It's not that hot.
It's hot.
It's really not.
Hot.
Take off your sweatshirt. Take off your pants and jacket. Name that album.
You just did. Blink 182.
I know. Before we get into today's episode, I want
to Yeah.
Say, oh, no. Yeah. Okay. This is what I was dealing with on the way here.
That is a truck.
A truck that cannot fit. He can't turn.
Oh, God.
He was
Where is
stuck
that?
for 10 minutes.
Where is that?
It's the way that I take to your house. I was nice, and I was trying to let him go because I thought he was heading in the same direction as me.
Yeah.
And he was like, this way. And I was like, okay, well, I got a red light up there.
Yeah.
I'll pull back. And then the car behind me pulled back. We all pulled back. He was stuck for 10 minutes. I said, forget this. Joe is going to have a conniption if I'm late. So I passed through a parking lot of a business, went around the guy while he was still, I don't know how it ended. I was so curious to know how it ended. Went around him, took a back road, cut in front to just avoid it. Because I was like, Joe's going to have a conniption if I'm late.
See the lengths that you go to now? I feel like that made you better.
I don't know, because now it's like eating me alive to know how he ended. Like, what did he do?
The mystery's there. Although you threw me under the bus the other day, too, with your friend. You're like, oh, because if I show up late, I'm going to hear about it. Like, yeah, I mean, common courtesy if you show up late.
I don't know, man. I kind of nothing
you know what
really
it is?
Bothers me is really what it comes down to. Very little bothers me.
I know, but what that shows me is like, so it doesn't bother you that you are wasting my time.
See, no. I'm saying it doesn't bother me when people are late for me. Like,
right. But does it bother you that like you're upsetting somebody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
But am I bothered?
You know what it is?
Am I bothered? It bothers me that I'm bothering you and that you're so affected by it.
Yes.
So I want to fix it because it's affecting you. But that's it. Like, do I care if I'm late? Really? No. But I care about your feelings.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I care about your feelings.
But I know what it is, too, because you would be late, and like somebody like Danny doesn't give a shit.
Because Danny's late, too.
He's just so laid back that he don't...
Danny's also late. He's laid back.
He just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, she'll get here.
Most of the people in my life, like, are laid back. Like Gabby... Gabby was like, oh, I'll come over to your house on Sunday. I'll bring my dog. So, like, the dog can meet the cat because I'm watching her dog soon.
Just push that. Sorry.
Thanks.
Just push that closer.
Because I'm watching her dog soon. So she's like, okay, I'll text you. She texts me at 3:30. She's like, hey, what are you up to? I was like, I don't know. Just kind of, like, finding out if you're coming or not. And she's just like, all right, yeah, I'll come. It's just like, all right, cool. Jeez. But that was at 3:30 after I was awake, like it's Sunday. I got up at like 10, not early, not super late. But yeah, so I was just around. But like, I'm not fazed by things like that. I'm just like, whatever. But it bothers you.
It does because
so that's why I do it, because it bothers you.
But in my brain compartment, like I have Cheese and Greg coming over tonight.
Right.
And I confirmed with them this morning, like 10 o'clock before noon, because if they're not going to come, I will change my plans, and I will, in my brain compartment, be like, from this time to this time, I'm going to do something different.
You're very rigid with your plans is what I've noticed. Like, we were supposed to meet up at one point with someone else, with Skylar. And it's like, she had something going on, and then like she had to push it back later, and then I couldn't do later.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do later.
Yeah.
For someone like me, I would just be like, okay, I'm not doing yard work today. But like you're in your mind when you have something like that is there.
Yeah.
So like you weren't pushing where someone like me, I'd be like, okay, I'll just do my yard work another day. No big deal. Like come over.
Right.
You're more like, okay, I set the time for this and this is not moving.
Yeah.
So like you're more rigid with certain things, but you're the only person in my life I think that's rigid. Nick's not like that. My mom and dad are certainly, my mom's actually like that. I lied. My mom will be like, you told me you're being here at 2:30. I'm like, Mom, it's like 3:00. I told you I had other things to do. But actually, the only other person in my life is you and my mom, which is probably why you guys get along so well.
Yeah, in my head, I know that it probably seems arbitrary, but in my head, I booked that time to do yard work.
You don't have to explain it to me.
Oh, well, I'm explaining it to the rest of the people.
Oh, okay.
See, Mel's like that too. She's so laid back and like
I know she is because I'm like, I see her. And she's very much, in regards to personality-wise, with like how she approaches things, like she's very much like me.
She's
like
just
it's
so
like very
laid back.
like whatever. Like I feel like things don't really phase her that much. Like I mean, we're
not like that.
Not like that. Like we're females. Like sometimes like something will happen and we'll like we're tired and we'll like be like bitchy because we're tired.
Yeah.
But like in regards to like rigidness, like I can tell she's more like go with the flow, and you're more like on schedule.
Well, perfect example is she bought a bunny suit for Easter. And apparently her sister was supposed to do it, but I don't know if she had to work or something. So I go, well, that sucks. But then it was like pitched to me to do. And I was like, okay, so what is the game plan here? When do you want me to pick it up? Where do you want me to go? How do you want this to happen? Is there an interaction with the kids, or are they just watching me? How long do I stay for?
You're like very
and she just goes,
just show up.
She's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how I am.
I'm like, no, because like there's a reason why even when we did the limo for the Christmas Crawl 10, now everybody knows about it, but the surprise was the limo.
Right.
And it was like to the point rigid. Everybody had to be at Cheese's for 1 because I know people show up late, and if I said 2, they'd show up at 3, they'd see the limo, it'd ruin the surprise. It's like everything has to align. And she's just like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you bought the suit. Like, what do you want me to do?
In her head, she's just like, just show up.
Yeah,
like,
just,
wear
yeah,
it,
just
show up. Like,
just do it.
Like, go with the flow. Just, like, make your own rules. And you know what it is? This episode was not supposed to be about this. We'll get into whatever we were about to talk about.
Well, we usually do, like, a quick 5-10 minute rant.
So, what I think it is for you is because you're into videography, I think you think things through from, like, A to B. Or A to Z.
A to Z.
A to Z, not B. A to Z. So you want to know time, location, what is happening in parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you want the script to everything in life.
Yeah. But it's like my mother's like that. My father's like that.
Well, of course. You must have gotten that from somewhere.
John's maybe rigid, but not as bad. Like
There's always one outlier in the family.
Yeah, because sometimes we're like, she was like a fucking pigsty. Her room was a pigsty growing up. Like, I don't know where she got that from. Because I'm not like that. My mother's not like that. My father's not like that. But
there's always one outlier. There's one that goes a little rogue. She went a little rogue. That's fine. Rogue. That's okay.
Like the toilet seat, the lid being up. I don't know where that came from. That's a new thing.
That's a thing. Like, that's a normal thing.
Not in my house.
I've started to put the toilet seat down because of you.
The lid?
Yeah, the lid. Like, when I fly. Like,
well, here's the other thing. You have a cat now. Would he get into it?
No.
Okay.
I just do it because I read up on how much bacteria gets spurted out.
Oh. So there's a reason for the lid. Look at that. Amazing.
Well, like, my toilet is super far from, like, anything, but I thought about it and I was like, that's kind of gross. So then I started shutting it. Like, I don't have, like, your bathroom is toilet to sink. Mine is like toilet on the opposite side of like where my sink is. So like it really wouldn't.
Yeah, I had to make that sacrifice moving into this house. That was like the biggest drawback was that bathroom. I'm like, can I reason with this?
I wonder if you could like expand it, but you really can't because what retail space?
You could if you put the kitchen portion where like the cabinets are into the bigger kitchen. And that's how some people have it. But the reason, like, the house is it's 100 years old. So back then it was like they had bigger rooms, like a bigger kitchen and bigger rooms because like the bathrooms, like, well, people weren't like hanging out in the bathroom. So like they made it like super small. It is nice though, because when you wake up in the middle of the night and you like are urinating or something,
You just
you can lean on the sink. You can lean on the sink. You can brush your teeth, take a shit at the same time. It's great.
So weird. You're taking a pee and you're like washing your hands. You're like starting the water so it's nice and warm. Because you can like sit
and you have that ability in my bath.
Convenience. So convenient.
Oh my God. Anywho.
So today's episode.
I like this though. We always start with like a nice 10 minutes because we used to go so rogue.
I know.
And people were like, can you stay on topic? So now we get it out of the way up front.
Up front, we talk about what are we doing, what have we been doing, shit talk each other, like, and then we're done. And
check.
And then we talk about what we're actually going to talk about. Okay, so this episode, I used a term, and you didn't know what it was, but this episode's about being sober curious. Could you have like a guess as to what that means? It's an actual term.
This is like the beige flag thing. Like, here's my problem. In this world that we live in, this is it's in this realm, but like in the world that we live in now, everything has to have a fucking label. Like we have to label every thought, every action, every emotion. Sober curious,
yes,
is so stupid to me, but it enlightened me.
But can you make a guesstimate of what you think sober curious means?
I don't know. You're curious about getting sober?
Good job.
Wow.
So sober curious is a term that means questioning your relationship with alcohol and thinking about trying sobriety, even if you're not ready to commit to it. The movement is growing. Group of individuals who opt to drink less or not at all as lifestyle choices. The movement pushes back at the normalization of heavy drinking and stereotypes that those who do not drink are less social and have less fun. I'm down with the cause. It's just what bothers me is in this TikTok world, everything has to have every thought has to have a fucking label on it. Do you label yourself?
No.
I know you don't
fucking
because
care.
Nick and I were like, what do you mean you don't have a label?
What does that even, I don't know what label for what?
Going steady.
Going steady. Okay. I'm 35 years old. And like this was an actual
Nick
conversation.
Was like, I wish you saw Nick's face. Nick was like,
well, because this was an actual conversation that we had because you said, like, when do you ask her to be your girlfriend? Like, we're not fucking 16. You guys are doing pillow forts and making out with your cat. We ain't doing this.
He's so cute. Okay, so sober curious is essentially, I've been seeing a lot about it. So this generation, not our generation, the one underneath us, Gen Zers, are dibble-dabbling in sober curiosity. And the reason being is they want to show that you don't necessarily need to have alcohol in order to have a good time, or it could be reasons of just like wanting health, wellness, whatever. There's a multitude of reasons. So my parents' liquor store has seen like a direct effect where people are coming in for non-alcoholic liquor. Mm-hmm. So now there's non-alcoholic beer. We've always known that. There's always, not always, but there's been like non-alcoholic wine. That's been a thing for a few years. The new thing that's popped off is liquor. So they have non-alcoholic vodkas and gin and whiskeys. So you can make all your favorite cocktails that are non-alcoholic.
Yeah, they're mocktails.
But they're mocktails. But my idea of it was like...
It's like cranberry juice.
Right. Like why...
It's kind of stupid.
I would rather have like a mocktail. Like if I'm pregnant and like Nikki and I go out for a drink, like I want a mocktail. I don't want just water. And I don't really drink sodas. So like a mocktail sounds nice. Of like muddled strawberries and they add like a club soda and I don't know.
I know, but like, you know what the funny thing is like I don't think they're any fucking cheaper than an actual cocktail.
It's like literally
so
a cocktail's like $12. The mocktails are $9.
Yeah, you're paying for like
juice.
Just juice.
Yeah.
To me, it's a little
premium prices for juice.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is why people go for the non-alcoholic liquors. Like those are the things that I don't understand. Because if I want like a non-alcoholic mojito, I don't necessarily need the non-alcoholic vodka. I can just do muddled strawberries, club soda, mint, like that thing. And I feel like I'm still getting the ambiance without having this like weird.
That's the one that's weird to me too.
Liquor.
Like I would say the seltzers, because then you're just drinking like a polar.
Right.
But they do NA seltzers now.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. I would say the wine and the beer makes the most sense, I guess. But what you're saying is the vodkas and the gins and the seltzers, I don't get it.
I don't fully understand it. So I guess the reasoning behind the beer and the wine is a lot of people who are like prior alcoholics, they have the hand to mouth fixation. So if they're out socializing, it's a great way of them being able to wean off of having like traditional beer, and you still get the hand to mouth fixation, the socialization, the whatever, without having to have like a water bottle while everyone around you is drinking, or people are holding back because they don't want to drink in front, whatever. But like instead of having a water bottle, it's like a great alternative. But like for me, I guess I don't understand the vodka part of it, like the non-alcoholic vodkas, tequilas, whatever, because it's not like a bottle. Like like adding it to your drink, it doesn't show anything. You don't see it.
Yeah.
So like, what's the point? Like, you can make a mocktail without that, and it's still a mocktail. So I don't fully understand that one. The wine is the same thing as a beer. Like, people like who don't like beer, and then they don't drink that. Like, they still want to they want to go to a vineyard, whatever. Like, they're with their families and whatever. Like, a non-alcoholic wine is gonna look like traditional wine and it without the alcohol, and that's fine. Seltzers, I think, is
just drink a polar at that point.
I know.
I will say the beers, because back in the day it used to be O'Doul's, and then there was another one.
There was literally only two.
It was like Beck's, maybe O'Doul's, and is Beck's one. But it was like there was really only
O'Doul's
two.
Was like the most popular. That was the one that everyone knew by name.
Right, and I think it was Beck's. There was two that were like cornered the market, but now they have a shit ton. All the major brands, for the most part, have NAs. Bud, Heineken, Peroni, Stella. Athletic Brewing is just a whole line of just NAs. And we've tried most of these on a different program.
Oh, yeah?
We just did the Bush. Bush has an NA.
I can't even look up what was the name of the one from before.
Check Beck's.
Because there's so many.
I think it's Beck's. But yeah, it was back in the day, it was only two. But now Corona's got one.
Yes.
I didn't mention Corona already.
Beck's non-alcoholic.
Like, they must have been around for a long time, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Unless
I'm trying to see.
Mixing the two up.
You could be.
But you can tell that there's a wave of that non-alcoholic and not drinking type thing, because all the big companies are
now doing
They're doing the NAs. And a lot of them, like the Bud one, the Bud Zero.
Yes.
It's pretty good. And then the Athletic Brewing
liked it. He didn't even know. He like bought it by accident.
He's like, why am I not getting drunk?
He brought it to like a friend's house, and he was like, guys, like, he was like,
you thought it was like
these
a light?
Are so good. Yeah, he was like, these are good. Like, I don't really feel like bad from them. And they're like, they looked at the thing and they're like, Nick, there's no alcohol in these. And he was like, oh, like he thought he got like a 0 calorie, not like 0 alcohol.
Even that wouldn't make sense. How could you have a 0 calorie? I mean,
it's just like, what are you doing, kid?
Swing and a miss, but yeah.
So now like it's having a direct effect on liquor stores, because a lot of times these, I think Ritual is one that makes non-alcoholic like liquors.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to buy them online because you can just buy them online because there's no alcohol in them. So there's no real need to get them from a liquor store unless you want it right then and there. Like a
how are the sales? Like how are they seeing the sales on like NA beers? Are they moving a lot of product at your liquor store?
We are near a lot of colleges, so it's hard to say because a lot of the colleges, so we've seen like a change. So when my parents first got the liquor store in 2011, it started off with beers. Like craft beer was everything. It was all the rage. Everyone wanted what's the newest IPA, double IPA, citrus, whatever, sours, like these craft beers. Dogfish Head made a 90-minute and it was like exclusive, or 120, I think it was exclusive. No one could get it, blah, 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 blah. Like that was the thing that everyone wanted back in the day.
Yeah. And
then it started changing and evolving into like seltzers. Seltzers somehow like made a debut. I really think High Noon like kicked that off with like Barstool, and
it wasn't
Prez.
White Claw wasn't like, I feel like White Claw was the first one that I remember hearing.
So White Claw was first, but it didn't really start having the push until Portnoy. Like we used to have, so we had White Claws for a while, and people would get them. Like the girls would get the White Claws, the boys would get the beer.
Yeah.
Now after Barstool pushed it, we noticed a huge increase in boys getting seltzers, men getting seltzers, and women. so now it was like double. And our craft beer actually took a hit. Now craft beer is like now in this like specific market tends to be more like indie hippie, like hipster kids that come in. And they want those craft beers. But the traditional like kid who goes to college wants to drink with his friends, she wants to drink with her friends, they would get fucking seltzers.
Natty Ice.
High Noon. They used to get Natty Ice, Bud Light,
just the trash. It's cheap as shit.
PBRs, like, so like that stuff. But now it's seltzers, or then it was seltzers. Yeah. Now we're starting to like move again. There's like a direct shift of it's either seltzers, tequila, no vodka, like vodka and what they still move. But tequila is like this like influx. Yeah,
because the white girls.
I'm not white.
I didn't say you were.
But I like tequila.
Mm-hmm. You're basic, though, so it kind of fits.
I don't know.
What's your favorite tequila? We already talked about this.
Casamigos.
Yeah, exactly. As basic as it gets.
I like expensive tequila, but I can't afford Clase Azul, so.
Sure.
So now it's like this transition again from some seltzers, heavy on the tequila, or non-alcoholic. Yeah. And I'm curious to know, like, within the next 5 years, like, with this influx of sober curiousness, are they're eventually gonna like push out seltzers again, and now it's just gonna be like,
there is no like you're either sober or you're not.
Sober curious is like you, but also people who like do it for a little bit of time. Like you just celebrated your 100 days of no alcohol, so you're technically
just like, I just haven't. But like I'm not. Again, everybody wants a label of something. So I haven't drank in 100 days.
So that's like, without you like thinking much into it, like that's you being sober curious. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna stay sober forever. No, like potentially you're gonna have a drink on your birthday.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. No, I don't know. I probably will.
Okay. I was like, really? You're not?
I just hate that everything has to have a stupid label.
Because you don't like that.
Because it's
dumb. But it has like, it really doesn't like affect you like per
it does, because I have to listen to fucking ding dongs talk about it. Right now you're sober curious.
You're sober curious. You're wanting to dibble dabble and try sobriety for a little while.
It's like, so every time somebody does dry January, it's like, guys, I'm practicing
sober curiousness,
sober curiosity.
So being sober hasn't always been popular. Our culture in many ways revolves around alcohol, from tailgating at sports events and celebrating weddings to attending happy hours and networking events. We have a networking event coming up. Mm-hmm. Shout out May 11th.
Shout out the day. Shout out to that May 11th.
May 11th. From tailgating at sports events and celebrating weddings to attending happy hours and networking events, we celebrate many of life's greatest events with champagne, wine, beer, and cocktails. Yeah. Though alcohol may not be a dangerous problem for all, it can still be a problem. You don't have to hit rock bottom to make a serious lifestyle change, and the sober curious movement recognizes that and helps to break the stigmas that have been associated with sobriety. Though Dry January was trademarked by the Alcohol Concern charity in 2014, and the initial campaign encouraged individuals to take a month-long break from alcohol. I actually didn't know that's how that started. Did you know that?
No.
Wow. Only recently,
I just did it.
A long break from alcohol. Only recently have alcohol-free months become more popular. And then it says some individuals have been sober curious for decades. The term was created by Warrington. Her event series called Club Soda NYC stands for sober. I just sounded like a Rhode Islander. Sober.
Sober.
Stands for sober or debating abstinence, and features panels, writing workshops, and sober retreats. My hope is that extending the invitation to get sober curious will help people realize that there are other ways to experience whatever it is they are seeking.
And then anyway, alcohol. How much more is there? I mean, I feel like we're reading a fucking memoir.
That was the last sentence right there.
Oh, God.
That was the last sentence.
I will say that I think that regardless if you drink socially or very infrequently, you should take a period of time to not drink. Even just a month, any month. Pick a month. Just do at least like 30 days to not drink. I mean, you don't drink a lot.
No.
But you ever take like long breaks, like intentional breaks?
No.
You don't.
Because I don't drink often.
Yeah.
Like Nick and I went to Blackie's like a couple weeks ago when I was texting you. I had I had 2 drinks there, and that was 2 weeks ago. And I probably will not be having another drink until this weekend. I'm meeting up with Shout Out Heather.
Shout Out Heather.
Yeah. So I'll probably have like a drink this weekend, but then I won't drink again until probably like May, until our event. I really don't like.
I might not even drink it then.
You might not.
I might do it. I might just hit the NAS. I don't know because in my brain compartment, my birthday's June 1st. So if I can get to,
that will be your longest stint.
That's 5 months straight, which is solid. Because I would drink more in the summer and the fall and shit. But like,
I know why you're being sober curious for 5 months. Do you feel comfortable with? You were doing it for health reasons. Well, like to just like cut back on like calories and stuff like that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, it's more of like a weight thing.
Yeah.
Because I like beer.
Well, I was gonna let you share that, and you're like, why?
Well, because I didn't know if you knew. I didn't know if you knew. I mean, it wasn't.
We talked about it.
At first, it was just dry January. Then it was like, well, let's do February. Then let's just do March.
How are you feeling about like not drinking and like your weight loss journey? Like, do you think it's helped?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. 100%.
So you're still doing non-alcoholics or no? When you do your Mojo show?
We'll do like 1 or 2 NAs. Are
they less calories than? Yeah. Okay, they are.
Yeah, like I think the highest calorie one that we've tried was maybe like 60 something, 64, 65 maybe.
Okay, that's not like bad.
50 or 75 maybe, and nothing like
crazy.
Nothing crazy, no.
Do you like them? Like, is there one that you guys have both tasted where you're like, this is probably the best non-alcoholic, or they taste like the real thing?
The Bud Zero is pretty good. The Corona I wasn't like big on the Corona.
Do they make a Joey Dello?
No. No.
They don't?
They just came out with a light.
I know.
And
so
this
they're
is like, yeah, so I don't.
They take their time with things.
Yeah, I don't think that they would. But the Athletic Brewing, because they have different, like, they have a couple different IPAs. Mm-hmm. Like, Athletic Brewing is strictly NA.
Okay.
So they have a couple good ones. And I'd say the Bud Zero.
Okay. And it tastes like regular Bud?
To me, it tastes like a Bud Light. Yeah, it's like a Bud Light. But it is. It's like being social without, having the effect. Because what happens for me is I enjoy beer. Like, I'll shoot anything, but I don't like to sip on fucking whiskey or cocktails and shit. Like, or I don't drink wine, but I like to drink beer. And beer is like, even one Modelo. What are you laughing at?
No, just continue.
I need to know what the fuck is so funny.
This whole thing, I'm not a wine drinker. I just like beer.
I just like beer. I like beer. I like an ice cold fucking beer.
I'm looking at you with your little scrub, your little short hair, and like I know you have all your tattoos, and you're like, I like beer. And I'm like,
did I say it like that the first time?
I don't know. I just have this like weird image of you right now. Go ahead.
Last time you had an image of a guy doing something he shouldn't have been doing. So anyway, so one Jodello is 143 calories.
Okay.
And you think I'm going to stop at 1. You're fucking crazy. But you think about it, even just 4, you're up to fucking 600 calories. And then what happens is then you go into like fuck it mode and you just start eating like shit. So that's what I'm more concerned about while I'm losing weight and trying to get in shape, is going back and dabbling into it. And I could do the Modelo Lights because they're 90 calories, but it's just like I don't want to get in the habit of like drinking that much. You know what I'm saying?
So you having three Joey Dellos is the equivalent of you having a single Wendy's classic burger with cheese.
Yeah, and you'd probably get more nutrients out of that, really. I mean, beer is just, it's the worst because it's usually heavy calories, is nothing good in it.
I feel like it's also, like you said, associated with eating like shit. Like, yeah. I have one drink and I'm like, I want a snack. Like, I just want to snack on something. And I don't want like an apple. Like, I want like chips, or I want like
French fries and like just
something
shit food. Yeah. So And I, in my head, I don't think that I'm at the point where I can reward myself, like weight wise and being in shape. Like I'm not where I want to be. So I'm like, I don't know if I can.
You're so close though. You're doing great, sweetie.
I'm like halfway to where I want to be.
You're doing good.
No, I'm doing fine. It's just like, I don't want to brick it right now.
So like, cause I asked you this the other day, a couple days ago. I talked about pizza, I think it was. And I was like, oh no. We were at the Greatest Bar in Boston, and I had steak tips and sweet potato fries, and I gave him a steak tip, and I was like, "You want some?" And he was like, "No," and he was eating his like chicken wings, burger, tendies. I don't even know
chicken tenders.
So I'm like, "You want a steak tip?" And you're like, "No," and then I just put it on your plate anyways, and you ate it. And then I was like, "Here, you want sweet potato fries? Because I know you like them." So I put them on your plate, and you're like, "No." And then you gave that one back, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And you're like, "Because I feel like if I have, like, you haven't had a fry either. So you haven't had alcohol since the beginning of the year. You haven't had fries since the beginning of the year, and you were nervous that if you had one, you just couldn't stop yourself."
It's because it's like, which is stupid because I mean I've had other like fried foods, but. Which I try to limit the fried foods, but like French fries, and I like
stop. They're like chips. They're like popcorn.
I like sweet potato fries probably more than regular fries, but they're fried and they're like it's not really like the nutrients that you would get out of a sweet potato is kind of like
they're
pretty refined,
but you're adding fried oil,
and that's what I don't want. And I know it's a weakness for me because if I get it, I'll just keep eating them. So it's like my game plan going into this was alcohol, French fries. Pizza, which I've had calzones though, so I've bent a little bit there.
Pizzas,
yeah, I've had pizza in a different
like
transformation.
Folded together and sealed the sides and called it a calzone.
That's pretty much it. You know, like you go to Taco Bell and they always have a new item. Yeah. It's the same ingredients, just reshaped.
They're like, that's what that is. We now have a crispy chicken chalupa or whatever, a new crispy chicken chalupa, and they had the chicken chalupa, but instead of using like I don't know, some kind of like ranch sauce, they now made it like a Chipotle ranch sauce. Yeah, and they're like, new.
It's brand new. So it's like the calzone is like the pizza folded in half. But in my brain compartment, it's the same, but it's different. Like if we were going to go and get fucking pizza.
You could devour a whole
Yeah,
pizza.
And then like, I don't know.
But versus a calzone, like you could limit yourself to like a
cup. I could limit it more on a calzone because it's usually like, it's probably maybe the equivalent of like 2 pieces or 3 pieces or something. I don't know.
Like a single calzone?
Yeah. Like that.
Probably the equivalent of that, like 1.5.
Even like bread. Like I've limited bread other than like I've had bread, but I've limited it a lot. What was the other? What was the other big one that I did?
I know French fries, pizza.
Oh, pasta.
Oh.
I've had pasta twice this year and it was at game dinners. And that's it. Because it's a weakness. And I've tried chickpea pasta. I tried the lentil. To me, it's like, just give me the real thing. When I want it, I'll get the real thing.
Yeah, I don't like the chickpea one.
I didn't like the lentil one either.
I know it's better on like protein and whatever. I have a brown rice pasta that Nikki can't tell the difference that it's gluten-free, essentially. Yeah. But brown rice versus wheat, like... it's equivalent. So like for you, I could be like, oh, we'll try the brown rice, but nutrient wise, they're exactly the same. So you might as well stick to yours.
Yeah, I would just, when I want to brick it and have pasta, I'll just do like a pasta dish. And then but now I know, like, instead of me trying to fake it and be like, oh, I'll make a lentil pasta, just give me the real thing when I'm gonna fuck up.
Could you do that with like beer and alcohol? Like, could you do it like when you do maybe kickstart back from not being sober curious? When
my curiosity runs out.
When your curiosity is gone, you're no longer curious, George. Will you then do the same idea where you're like, you know what? I don't need to have a beer every Mojo show that you guys film, but you're like, I can limit this where I'm now. It's a form of self-control. It's like,
so
I won't do it for this, but I'll do it at a game dinner.
So on that topic, now this is what has been rattling around in my brain compartment because eventually I will drink again. But I was thinking I will drink for events. And then in my head, I go, what constitutes an event? Like Cheese and Greg are coming tonight.
Is that an event?
Is that an event? Because they don't come over every week. You know, like what constitutes. So then I thought about what if I give myself like almost like how work gives you PTO
yes.
or vacation days. Give myself X amount of days, and it could be a fucking Tuesday.
So
right?
you want to be more scheduled with it, like rigid with it.
More so, like if they happen to come over like 4 times, right, and then one of those times I just decide, you know what, I'm just gonna drink tonight, but that counts. Like instead of trying to do it for events, just give myself an X amount of days. So like if it's a Saturday night and I just am home, but I feel like having a couple beers. Well, then that's one of my days. Yourself. I'll allow myself to do it, but I'll check that off.
So you're going to allow yourself, like, let's give a number. What's the number that, have you thought about it that you feel comfortable?
Yeah, like 75.
What's the number you feel comfortable with? In a month.
Oh, in a month? No, I'm not doing I'm doing it based on the year. So I would say it was like 10 or 12.
In a year?
For the year, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, 10 or 12 for the year.
Okay.
Because 12 is like, once a month.
Right.
Which I've already done like, so really I can double up in like July. That's what I'm thinking.
So like, okay. So like, I guess if you give yourself 12 in a year, you physically will like keep track in your mind of like being like, okay, well I'm down. You're so rigid.
I'll write it down. I write down my PTO for work. Like, and I don't necessarily have to, I put it in the system, but I write it down. So then mentally I know what I got left and what I can use and shit.
I feel like knowing you, that's going to work really well. For me, that's like too rigid. So I would have to do like I'll constitute what an event is in my head. So in my head, it's like birthday,
right?
Like celebrating my birthdays or my closest friends' birthdays, holidays, or like.
But then it goes back to
events that I throw, maybe.
Is Labor Day a holiday that you would drink?
I wouldn't drink on that day anyways. So for me, it's like...
You could be a little bit more... For me, it's more of the rigidness I think is going to help. Because really, I just want to keep the weight down.
What a full circle. I talked about rigidness in the beginning of this podcast. And we're just doing a full circle to just rigidness.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see if this works. Because part of it is like I'm actually a little bit nervous about drinking again. Only because I... am not physically, I don't have a drinking problem, but like physically I'm not where I want to be. And I don't want to go backwards because I had a lot of weight to lose from COVID.
146, right? What did I say?
Yeah, you were like, oh, I think you weigh like 160 pounds. I'm like, maybe in fucking 8th grade. What the fuck? You know what's funny? At the last Rough and Rowdy, they were doing the weigh-ins, and one of the guys that runs it there, I was joking. I was like, oh, I'll step on the scale. And he goes, I could tell what you weigh. And I had clothes on. I go, what? And he was within 5 pounds.
Nuh-uh.
Swear to God. He goes, I've been doing this a long time. Yeah, Lyle from Barstool, Rough and Rowdy. Yep, he was within 5 pounds. Just looking at me.
You know what's funny is that they used to do those at like Six Flags where they either guessed your name, your age, your birth month, which was a weird one for me, or your weight. I always used to do the weight because they would always over me. And I was always under. So, like, I did it one time. Yeah. And I think I had gone with an ex. And I was like, okay, let me try this. I'm going to see if I can win. And so I stepped on, like, I like, stepped up. And he was like, I'm going to guess your age and your weight. And this kid was like, I don't know. Like, he was, like, maybe, like, 18 years old. Like, he was young. And he was like, if I get within 5 pounds or 10 pounds, you lose. Otherwise, you would win. And I said, okay. So I stepped up and he was like, I'm going to guess 126. And I like stepped on the scale knowing that I was like 100 pounds soaking wet. Stepped on.
When was this?
It was like 105. I didn't hit over 100 pounds until college. Yeah.
Jeez.
I currently weigh the heaviest that I've ever in my entire life.
I mean, you're growing, right? You're maturing. Your body's changing.
When I got sick in 2018, I lost a ton of weight. Also, when I went for Squid Games, I lost a ton of weight.
Well, yeah, I won't say it.
But when I got sick in I had hit the heaviest I had ever weighed, which was 123 in 2018. I was going to the gym. I was like with a nutritionist and whatever. Like I was trying to like tone up. And I weighed the heaviest that I had ever been. Got sick, or actually, I was going to the gym, but I think I wasn't with the nutrition yet. Anyways, got sick, dropped down to like 110, 112, and I could never get myself back up.
Yeah.
I think through not going to the gym for like the first like 3 months of the year, something happened in my body. So I now currently weigh 124 as of yesterday. Yes, 124. But yes, so I went on the scale and I won and I got my prize and I got a giant teddy bear because this kid guessed wrong and it wasn't within 10 pounds, I think it was.
Interesting.
So I took my teddy bear and I went home.
Interesting.
And it was great.
Fair enough.
I have no idea where I was going with that.
No, we were talking about like weight, I think.
Probably.
And stuff. Like, I was losing weight right before COVID and I probably dropped down like maybe like 12, 13 pounds.
Didn't John say that about like one of your most recent videos that you had posted on your personal channel? It's just like, you lost a lot of weight, huh? And you're like, no, that's old.
Yeah, and that was like, even that was 2 years ago, and I was still, I don't know, I mean, maybe I just ballooned up more. But when I posted that, it was footage from 2 years ago. She's like, oh, you have lost weight. I'm like, less tattoos and less gray hair. That was fucking 2 years ago, bro. But I don't know. I
think being sober curious is something that, even though you don't like the term, I think it's something that, one, you obviously resonate with because you're doing it, because it could be for it. It could be. I don't
knock the intent behind it. I knock the labeling of it. It's like everybody has to be put in a box. Nobody can just like.
I'm gonna confine you right here.
That's honestly that's what this whole thing is.
I know, and that's like, what you don't like.
I hate it.
I want to be cool. I'm going to be original. That's Joseph. Always.
I just don't want to be like put in a box with anything. I just don't want to be put in a box. But I support I do support the movement, because even for me, like, I don't have a drinking problem. I don't think I have a drinking problem. I think I would know at this point. Maybe you don't. Some people don't. But
yeah, some people don't.
I'm
for you, you're doing it for.
Yeah, I'm pretty self-aware of it. I think when I just would drink more often when people are around or something, or maybe during COVID it was a bad time.
Yeah.
But like, I'm doing it more for like health, as far as like weight and shit.
And it's working.
It's working.
Good for you.
We're not completely there yet, but
I will be sober curious until Saturday, and then I will not be sober curious.
But I will say though, if you're thinking about it or whatnot, there's a ton, like if you're a beer drinker, or I mean anything at this point, because they have seltzers, they have alcohols, they have like the vodkas and shit, they have wines, they have beer. Like, there is a huge market for NAs. So if you're thinking about it and you want to just try it,
just do it.
Give it a shot.
As Shia LaBeouf
Moral of the story: give it a shot.
Just do it. Nick's about to be non-soda curious for the month of May.
What does that mean?
I told him, I was like, you drink a lot of soda, and I said it like once, like, just he goes out knocking, so he goes and grabs a big gulp, like the large ones, and he'll like
big
drink
gulps,
them.
huh?
Yeah.
Well, see you later.
Goes to get that, like goes to do like loves to drink soda at home, like whatever.
Yeah. And
I was just like, you drink a lot of soda, and I said it once. So he came home yesterday and he's like, I'm having no soda for the month of May, and I was like, good. I'm like, proud of you. And I was like, what about Red Bulls? And he was like, that's soda. And I was like, well,
it's trash.
I was like, it's not good for you. I was like, maybe find a healthier alternative for May and cut back on the soda and see how you feel.
What I will recommend too, and I gave him one because I think he drank the night before we filmed.
Yeah.
Try the electrolyte powder.
Oh, true.
Try that.
Okay.
For like an energy source, drink more water, but try the electrolyte powder. Do that once a day.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
Well, thanks for your recommendation, Dr. Joe.
Anytime.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Shout out to Be Nice Human and Skylar Batz from Studio 121. We have an event coming up very soon. By the time you see this, it will be within a few short weeks.
Yeah.
It is at Sapphire. Also, we actually, are we doing the giveaway still at the time? No, the giveaway
already ended. But we are doing a raffle for a gift card to Sapphire.
There you go. So be
Eventbrite
there.
Eventbrite is in the description.
Or be square. All right.
I love that for me.
I hate that for me.